Well, welcome back, fellow YouTubers, toy and toy train buffs, to another update and running session out here on the Milwaukee Northwestern. I'd like to thank all my new subscribers. Appreciate you coming on board, and I hope you have fun with the channel. Lots of content going back like 12 years or so. Bunch of videos. And for those of you who are new, let's give you kind of a small recap of the layout or layouts as they existed out here in the cave. I call the garage the cave. The biggest layout I had here was called the Marksville and Plateau. It was a large U-shaped going in here and here and then wrapping around. All right, and that was in place here from 2005 until 2016. It was a really nice layout, had a lot of nice scenery, but what happened was I made it with 034 track, Marks 034, and I was getting a hankering to just to run larger engines, and the 034 track obviously wouldn't allow me to do that. So after 11 years, I was kind of getting bored with the layout anyway. After 11 years, I dismantled a portion of it. Obviously, this still exists. This bridge area still exists. You can't see much of it now. It's buried. Gonna have to do something about that one of these days. But the portion that used to be behind me was just totally dismantled. Okay. So in 2016, I dismantled it, and from the remainder of 2016 up until April of last year, this board played host to a variety of setups. Sometimes I set things up here, sometimes I set things up here. At times there were no trains here at all. I would use it, let's say I had Alamo set up here, dinosaurs, a Gettysburg set up. I just had a whole bunch of things out here that I was having fun. I was just having fun. I put out a really cool battery-operated train that I bought while stationed in Korea. That was neat. The video is on my channel as well. And I was just having fun, but all of those setups were temporary. The biggest setup was when this whole area was taken up by one loop of track, 027, and filled with vintage cardboard and paper buildings. It was really neat, from a variety of companies going back to the 20s and 30s and on into, I believe, the 50s. So that was a lot of fun, but I kind of got tired of doing nothing but temporary setups and only using the 027. Except for one year, I set up this whole area as a Christmas layout, and it was I used the fast track from the Christmas train set. All right. So I just used that and whatever. But, the reason I tore down or dismantled the Marksville and Plateau was to run larger engines on larger radius track. So in April of last year, I said, Ed, you got to get off your hiney and do something. If that's if you want to run bigger engines, you just gotta do something. So in April of last year, I started work on what I ended up calling the Milwaukee Northwestern, and I've got 036 track on the inner loop and 042 on the outer loop, Menards tubular. And I went with that because last year I was I don't know. I was going to go with fast track at first, and then I had heard a lot of things about, poor poor connectivity or conductivity, whatever you want to call it. And so I was reading and hearing a lot of not very glamorous reviews about Lionel Fast Track, plus its cost. So, budget constraints at the time told me to just go with Menards tubular. Okay, fine. So I did that. Alright, so that brings us up to today. Basically, I've been kind of slow leaking work on this layout ever since. It took me a while to come up with this 2-loop plan. Outer loop has no switches, that way I can run anything. Because I tell you what, switches or turnouts are the bane of existence in this hobby. You can't get every engine made to work on every switch made. It's just impossible. It won't happen. And I run a variety of engines and rolling stock from American Flyer and Marks pre-war on up to, modern stuff like the engine like the set I'll be showing you here shortly. Alrighty, so that's a short history. This track plan, it's hard to see, but the track is split into a reverse loop here with 2 sidings, one by the going to the Menards engine house or engine shed, and another one going to the Sprecher brewery. I sound like I had too many to drink already. I haven't had a thing. All right. So this track plan was inspired from a layout I saw on the internet, and I thought it was kind of cool. I said I could do something with that. Give me a little bit of switching and a little bit of operating variety, and plus I have the outer loop with no switches, so I can run anything. And then anything that'll negotiate 042 curves. We'll put it that way. So then months were spent just figuring out what the heck I wanted to do with all this. What buildings I wanted, how I wanted to look, the look to proceed. And the look I chose was big city in a small space. I've seen several small layouts that have done that quite successfully. A couple I just came upon recently, what they did is their buildings were all in the middle, so that everything behind them, all that trackage behind them was hidden. Okay? All that trackage behind the buildings were hidden. And the layouts looked really nice, but for me, because I can't just easily walk around and view the layout, for me, it was best to have some sort of openness here and still suggest a city. Okay, so overall, I'm still sort of working on that. I've got everything down. It's about 98% in my head of what I'm going to do. Alright, so we got all the planning done. Scenery-wise, I finally got off my duff and started working on actual scenery this past week or so. So what did I did? Well, I'll tell you what I did. This viaduct you see here was a remnant from the old layout. It was longer and I cut it down to fit the space. Right now, there will be a trolley line up here with maybe future expansion around the edge of the layout this way. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. But for now, there'll be a trolley line right here. My scenery, what I did the last couple weeks is I painted this area underneath the viaduct a gray, used a Sharpie pen, not a marker, but a Sharpie pen to draw in expansion joints because, it gives it a little more detail. Then I laid down grass in this kind of no man's land. Next thing I did was painted in, you can see it better here, this corner and this corner all concrete pads because, this is supposed to be city. A lot of this area will be underneath buildings and they'll have details and stuff like that. But, it's there to break up the monotony of this really ugly caramel brown kind of, which I've been using. You see this brown here? I still have, here, let me show you. I gotta show you this. There it is. I've had this paint since 2005 and there's still about a quarter of a gallon left. I've been using it as the base coat for my scenery for whatever layouts I've done, like this and the edge of town and other things, since then. And it's a good base coat just to take away that plain plywood or pressboard look that a lot of us end up with. I really am not too big a fan of that. I'm a fan of you get your plywood down or your pressboard, whatever you're using, and at least give it a coat of something, brown, green, whatever, just to hide the industrialized wood and pressboard look. Okay, so that being said, then I painted the roads. This is Valspar paint, and the main drag here is 6 inches across. That side street there is 5 inches, and that gives still enough room for vehicles to drive side by side without sideswiping. This one here is also 5 inches wide, but because my stations needed a little bit of extra room, this one here is, what is it? What did I measure this out? 4.5 inches? That's just barely enough to get 2 cars side by side. Alrighty. So that's what I've done for scenery in the last week. Concrete pads and roads. And then you see these sidewalks? Those are bar mill sidewalks. They're not attached yet. None of this is glued down. It's just there. I'm waiting for a shipment of a couple more packages of these. And then I'm going to start working on that. Alrighty. This is an awkward time of year because it's a good time to come out here in the cave. It's comfortable enough to do work. But then we've got the holidays coming up. We've got Halloween, Veterans Day, Christmas. So we got all these days coming up in which I want to run special trains and reconfigure this layout in a more holiday appropriate theme. So yeah, I have to kind of work the two, doing scenery, working on the layout, as well as doing this stuff. But that's okay. It gives me a little bit of fun. So all that being said, let's get to the train that we're running. So last year I went through a little bit of a buying spree, and I had gotten a bunch of things out here in the cave that I never opened. And one of those boxes was kind of small. The plain cardboard shipping box. I looked at that and I go, what the heck could that thing be? I opened up the cardboard box and took this out. Alright, I took that out. I go, what the heck? It's kind of small to be a set box, isn't it? And I looked on the side, and there it says, Lionel trains with Magna Traction number 2021 green passenger set. 027 passenger train with horn. I'm going, what? I bought that? I forgot about it. I bought that? Yeah, I sure did. And it has been one of the coolest sets I've bought in I don't know how long. It's just got that beautiful post-war feel to it, and the look and everything to it is just wonderful. It's terrific. Add to that, it's got the upgraded electronics. It's got a horn and bell that were much better than whatever originals came with. And there you have it. And that's what we're running today. So let's do this. Listen to the horn. The bell tends to be a little fast. But that's okay, it's a nice bell, just the same. The horn has that really nice echo effect. I love it. Okay, I'm trying to talk and film at the same time. I shouldn't do that. I can't even walk and chew gum. Alrighty, let's bring her on home. Cool. I love this set. This is so cool. For I'm sorry, what was I going to say? Oh, for you guys who have been with the channel for a while, you'll notice that I am starting to transition this into a Halloween theme for a while. There's one of the cardboard buildings I made, kits. Here's another one. These are all free downloadable kits from the internet. Hadley Sanitarium. Hey Gus, how you doing? We have a room reserved for you. Now that sign comes off and I can change it back to anything. I should put the Berg Lunatic Asylum on there, or not. No, I always call this house the Berg Loony Bin. So it might be more appropriate to put that on, because I tell you, well, never mind. I'm not going to tell you anything. Let's just say that Berg Loony Bin would fit. Okay, so in the next video, this whole area will probably be changed and look more Halloweenish than it does now. But until then, again, thank you to all my new subscribers. And until next time, tschüss, adieu, auf Wiedersehen, bye y'all.